So here's the important fact, which we need to record. Are we recording?
Yes, we are recording.
And levels are good?
Levels look great.
Yesterday was the birthday of two very important things.
Yes.
Number one, Jack Lambert.
Okay.
And number two, also the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh.
Is that cool or what?
That is a cool...
Same day as the franchise was founded.
That's a cool story, yeah. Well, Alyssa better make sure that's our preamble to the introduction, because I think our viewers need to hear that. But that's really cool.
That's a great fun fact.
I got one for you. Do you know, speaking of football, we're only 62 days away from the start of the NFL season.
There's no way you should know that.
Well, up until this point, I've had no baseball to watch. USA got eliminated, so I can not care about soccer for 4 years.
Yeah.
So
probably longer, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, so now it's the only thing I have to look forward to, other than my job.
Oh, that was good. I like that. I like it a lot. Okay.
All right. I better do the introduction before we get into more trouble.
Yes.
On this episode of the AAF Exchange, the so what of Spectrum auctions, Congress's pre-August recess priorities, and the launch of Trump accounts. Joining us to break this all down are AAF President Douglas Holtz-Eakin and Director of Competition Policy Fred Ashton. Doug, thanks for joining us.
I am delighted to be here as always.
So before we get into everything, what's been on your mind recently?
So I have been pondering the June jobs report, which came out literally right before the holiday, the 4th, and which got lost, as near as I can tell. People remember that there were like 50,000 odd jobs created, and the unemployment rate went down to 4.2%. So the top line seemed disappointing, but it wasn't a zero or a negative, and people weren't too upset. And then the unemployment rate went down. What's not to like? Mm-hmm. What's not to like is everything else. I think it's actually a troubling report, because on the household survey, the reason the unemployment rate went down is, yes, 200,000 more people became employed. No, 200,000 people became unemployed. 500,000 people, there were negative 500,000 jobs, and the labor force fell by 720,000 people. So it just collapsed. I mean, that's a terrible report.
Yeah.
And on the job creation side, we lost 61,000 jobs in leisure and hospitality. Why? Again,
in the middle of summer.
In the World Cup.
Yeah.
Okay, explain this to me. So I don't understand any of this, and this report, I think, is mysterious at best and troubling.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, so how does the Fed take this all in?
Deep breath, hang on. I mean, look, they are flying meeting to meeting and just looking at the data. They have to be. I don't know. Can you forecast the outcome of the Iran hostilities? No.
Yeah.
So starting with that and moving on, there's just a ton of uncertainty out there, and I don't.
Yeah. When's their next meeting?
July.
So this was the last jobs report they'll get before the next meeting. They'll get another.
I think they might get the. No, they won't.
Yeah. But they'll get some inflation reports before then. Yeah.
CPI next week.
Yeah. You had a great. Yeah.
Who knows?
You did have a good dish this morning about the Fed and the minutes from the last one from his first one.
It was first meeting for Warsh, and there were a bunch of questions that everyone had going into it, and then you read the minutes to try to find out. And my take on the minutes is they were actually fairly hawkish. Right? There were people who talked about raising, no one voted to raise, but those are the minutes. They can, I'll say this ungraciously, they can cook them any way they want. There is no mention of any participant suggesting lower rates. And that was all they talked about leading up to Warsh becoming chairman. Mm-hmm. So for that not to be mentioned anywhere, tells you where they are.
Interesting. All right, let's move on. The FCC will soon vote on a plan to auction, I think later this month.
July 22nd.
July 22nd, on a plan to auction additional spectrum after Congress restored its authority to do so. But what exactly is spectrum for those of us who don't follow this, and what is the FCC voting on? Why is it important at this moment?
I'm not a physicist, so you're about to get a layman's version of this.
Yeah.
But spectrum is literally wavelengths for radio waves and light waves and things like that. And we want to transmit in particular spectrum, particular radio lengths, for different purposes. Some are good for long distance. They hang together better. For 5G, there's a particular band known as the C band, And the C-band spectrum is the most valuable thing for the wireless folks. Now, we've already auctioned off some of the C-band, called the lower C-band. This is back in 2002, 2003. They did this, and ultimately they did the rollout when Trump was first president. Remember that, and it was and into the Biden administration. But they had this whole kerfluffle with the FAA and the altimeters, and it was a disaster. Okay, so we're now to the point where Congress, in the One Big Beautiful Bill, didn't give them the authority to auction. It said you must auction 100 megahertz of C-band and get going. And so what they announced is, and what they're going to vote on is, they are going to auction 160 megahertz of C-band spectrum, and this is probably the biggest auction in recent memory and in the foreseeable future. This is the one that all the wireless providers care about. They're all going to be in there. And it does a couple of things. Number one, they do it really fast. It's going to be done by 2027. Usually these things drag on forever, but they're just going to get it done. So I'm pleased about that. Second thing they're doing, which is good news, compared to the last time, the FAA and the FCC are talking to each other, and there is a plan for all commercial aircraft to have new altimeters, which will not be interfered with by the operation of the 5G. That will cost money, and they have said they will devote some of the spectrum auction proceeds to covering the cost of the altimeter. So they have a plan to get there and the money to do it, which is good. And then the way they've set it up, they have now got this, what they're calling upper C-band auction. It's going to be contiguous with the lower C-band auction. So there will be the one large band of the best spectrum for wireless available in all the lower 48 states for everything. And so that's just a big improvement in this sort of infrastructure.
Yeah, imagine that. Agencies talking to each other.
I find this all quite, that we hear a lot about the chaos that is government. This is nice.
It's nice to see something go smoothly for a change.
And this is the right way to allocate spectrum. Auction it off to the people who are going to use it.
So if the FCC's plan is successful, what does this mean for consumers? Why should they care?
So the starting point is, remember when we always talked about was the Internet of Things, so that your washing machine could talk to your refrigerator, but I never knew exactly why. That would be a good idea. But we could.
Yeah. And maybe when you eat spaghetti, the washer machine knows to get ready to go.
And I get appliances now, and they have the ability to talk to my phone and nap, and I never use it. I really don't need my dishwasher to be chatting at me during work. I mean, I just don't need that. But that notion of super connectivity needs a lot of spectrum.
Yeah.
And this provides that. And what we do know is that, yes, we all have our addictions on our phones, and so we want to be able to download and stream things no matter where we are quickly. This helps all that.
Yeah.
But commercial applications are a big deal too. You now go into almost any establishment, and they're pinging your phone, and they're interacting with you. So the ability to do all of these things simultaneously, that's what's at stake.
Anytime
a much richer environment.
Yeah. Anytime I walk by a Potbelly's, I now get a notification that there's a Potbelly's near me,
and you're hungry. Dear Kyle, you are hungry.
Come get a sandwich.
Look to your left.
All right. So let's talk more broadly and look at Congress. And they have just a few weeks before this August recess. When they get back, I think next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are the must-do items? The must-dos.
The must-dos are always money.
Yeah.
Right. So they must do the approps or make a plan to not do the approps, which is called a continuing resolution. I can't imagine them shutting the government prior to an election, but I think I said I couldn't imagine them shutting it last year, and they did it twice. So no thanks on that front.
Not good.
So that's top of the list. Underneath that, there's the sort of, whether it's a must or not is, I think, in the eye of the beholder, but they want to have a supplemental to pay for the cost of the Iran war and other sort of defense-related stuff. I think that's on the must list. Then there are a whole bunch of things that are sort of political musts, but I don't think that makes them musts. I mean, Reconciliation Bill number 3, which is supposedly going to have the Save America Act and a bunch of other things that aren't well specified. There's still hanging out there all sorts of things that We think they ought to get done, like some sort of privacy bill, online privacy, some sort of online kids protection bill, some sort of regulatory framework for crypto, the so-called Clarity Acts floating out there. Those are all things that are sort of out there in political land. And then there are things that are going to have to be done by the end of the year, absolutely have to be done. And given how dysfunctional things have been, maybe they should think about getting them done now. On that list are things like the NDA, the defense authorization we do every year. And also, there's the first responders network called FirstNet, and it needs reauthorized. That's been a huge success. I think they need to get that over the finish line. We can stop worrying about it.
Does that include the PDUFA and all those things?
Oh, I forgot about those. Yeah, no, those have to get done as well. All the fees that basically run the FDA, PDUFA, and others. They're in negotiation right now. The government negotiates with the industry puts up the money, and they fund the review process with
Interesting.
For devices and drugs.
Yeah.
And things.
So I think when we had our pre-meeting for this podcast, you put it pretty plainly that this is like the kind of time where they start saying, "Oh, we'll get this done in the lame duck" kind of thing, and starts teeing up that lame duck session that's coming.
I have my own personal hobby, which is keeping track of lame duck fever, and you can sort of somewhere in September is going to be peak lame duck.
Yeah.
When they're going to say, here's 77 things we're going to get done in the lame duck.
Yeah.
And it's all downhill from there. And then they actually have the election, and and people who lost think, I'm not going back there. And, and nothing gets done.
Yeah. So, interesting. Well, let's do a trivia question, and then I'll let you go. The Trump administration's 2026 Unified Agenda projects federal agencies to achieve total net regulatory savings of X by the end of September.
1.5 trillion.
Yep, nailed it.
And they claim they're going to do 720 deregulatory activities.
Yeah, that's astonishing.
Well, you have to figure out what they're counting in there.
Right.
For those who don't follow this stuff, they really expanded the net. It used to be you had to do a rulemaking. You just have a notice of proposed rulemaking or proposed rule, comment, finalize. They count memos, guidance, all sorts of stuff now. So it's easier to get to the total.
It's easier to get to the total. Got it. So is this the milestone it feels like? Is this how do you?
This is it's nice to hit your targets.
Yeah.
And they this would put them on track for their target. The number's a huge number because of the getting rid of the endangerment fund, which got rid of all of the costs associated with all greenhouse gas regulation. So that's why the number's so big.
Gotcha. Well, Doug, thanks for joining us, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back, Fred.
Thanks for having me, Kyle.
How have you been? It's been a while since you've been on.
It has been, but the Knicks are NBA champions. So.
Oh, God, I knew you were going to do that. 62 days until football season.
That's right.
And then I get to make fun of you for the Jets again.
That's right.
What World Cup team has more wins in MetLife than the Jets did all last year?
All of them.
All right. This week, the administration officially launched Trump accounts. To start, remind us what they are and what they intend to accomplish.
So Trump accounts are a product of the One Big Beautiful Bill, and they are a custodial-like individual retirement account designed for children to help them get an early start on savings. And a very popular feature of these accounts are the $1,000 government seed fund that are available for children born between 2025 and 2028.
Interesting. So you've written about the concept of these accounts. They have merit. But there are some drawbacks. What are the biggest concerns with the current design that you have?
The biggest drawback is it is another example of a tax preferred savings account. And that list just keeps growing. You have IRAs, 401ks, Roth versions of both, HSAs. There are dozens. Mm-hmm. And it creates complexity and a challenge to optimize tax-efficient savings. And the way these accounts, the Trump accounts, are taxed, create a paperwork nightmare. Mm-hmm. Every type of contribution is taxed differently on the way in and taxed differently on the way out. So just maintaining all those records is very complex.
Sounds like it creates a lot of jobs for accountants and muddies the water.
Certainly.
For average people to try and figure this out.
And it's intended to help the middle class and the poor, but it will be the already wealthy that can best take advantage of the tax efficiencies.
So if the goal is to encourage Americans to save and build wealth over time, over the long term, which we can all agree is a really good idea, are there better policy alternatives Congress should consider here?
Certainly. Stop using the tax code. Congress should stop using the tax code to or making special provisions in the tax code for certain accounts. Simplify it. The best way to do that would be a uniform savings account, universal savings account, where there's one tax rule, the money can go in, can be used at any time for any purpose, and you either pay taxes on the way in or taxes on the way out, rather than having to determine which set of accounts work best for you.
Yeah, rather, like you said, this is intended to help the middle and low income Americans who can't afford an accountant, and so the best thing to do would probably be simplify all this.
The KISS method is always the best. Keep it simple, stupid.
Well, on that note, Fred, thanks for joining us and talking to us about this latest development in the Trump accounts.
Thank you, Kyle.